Me and my peer, Ismaya Afike, are going to talk about the psychology of crime, also known as criminal psychology. Okay, there are two parts in our presentation. The first part is about the purpose of the psychology of crime, which I'm going to take it, and my friend will talk about the key areas and responsibility within the psychology of crime. Okay, before we go into our presentation, I'm going to define what is psychology of crime or criminal psychology. Okay, criminal psychology is a fascinating and complex field that seeks to understand the behavior of individuals who engage in criminal activities. It sits at the interaction of psychology and the criminology, aiming to answer the fundamental question: why do some people commit crimes? Okay, firstly, when we want to understand why do some people commit crimes, we have to look at the key factors. So here is a breakdown of the key factors. Firstly, is to understand the criminal behavior, to identify and analyze the psychological factors that contribute to the commission of crime. These include motivation, personal traits, cognitive process, and emotional state. The second key aspect is explaining the individual differences to understand why some individuals engage in criminal acts while others do not, in similar circumstances, do not. Thirdly, explain and develop a theory of crime to create a psychological model and framework that explain the onset, persistence, and distance and desistance of criminal behavior. Thirdly, is assisting law enforcement simply to provide insights that can aid in criminal profiling, investigation techniques, and understanding offenders' motivations. This is the key, I think. We need to understand the offender's motivation, or at least the police force need to understand why they commit these crimes. And fourthly is the rehabilitation and intervention. Okay, rehabilitation is to develop and implement psychology called treatment progress aimed at reducing criminal behavior and promoting psychological behavior. Simply when we have to put them into rehabilitation or some treatment, form of treatment to avoid committed these crimes. And the fifth aspect is informing the justice system. It's simply to provide expert testimony in court, access competency to stand trial, and offer insights into the mental state of the offenders. This is one of the very key or important point which we have to understand the mental states of these offenders. And lastly is the crime prevention. The crime prevention is simply about to identify psychological risk or factors and develop strategy to prevent crime before it occurs. This is about how to identify the psychological risk and factors and develop a strategy or solution to prevent this crime from occur in the near future. These are the seven factors that me and my friend identified as important in understanding the psychology of crime or criminal psychology. So the next point my friend is going to talk about is the key areas and responsibilities within the psychology of crime.
Thank you, Maximilian, for the introduction and stating some of the purposes of psychology of crime. I will basically talk about two important areas considered under criminal psychology, including the psychological theories related to crime and the risk factors, those that basically influence individuals' behavior. And finally, I will also stress on the importance of these areas. So, some of the theories that are considered under criminal psychology includes the psychodynamic theory, behavioral theories, cognitive theories, and personality theories, and biological theories. So, psychodynamic theories of crime largely based on Sigmund Freud's work, which suggests that criminal behavior stems from unconscious psychological forces, particularly those related to the ID, ego, and superego. And this theory proposes that early childhood experiences, especially those related to unresolved personality disorders, significantly shape an individual's personality and capacity for crime. So some of the key concepts under this theory includes the unconscious mind and the childhood experiences, or we could say adverse childhood experiences. So the ID represents the primitive instinctive desires and impulses driven by pleasure. So um, it is assumed that a strong uncontrolled ID may lead to impulses and antisocial behaviors, potentially resulting in criminal acts. The ego is the rational and reality-oriented part of the personality, mediating between the ID and superego. So it is assumed that an inadequate ego, unable to effectively mediate between the ID and superego, may struggle to control impulses and follow societal roles, resulting in criminal behavior. The superego represents the internalized moral values and societal norms. So it is assumed that a poorly developed superego lacking strong moral principles may not effectively inhibit criminal urges. Early childhood experiences also affect the ego and superego, as well as some of the unresolved conflicts in the childhood can sometimes manifest as criminal behaviors in the future. The next theory is the behavioral theories. They emphasize learning through observation, reinforcement, and punishment. So behavioral theories of crime focus on how individuals learn criminal behavior through their environment and experiences rather than inherent biological predispositions. These theories emphasize the role of social learning, reinforcement, and punishment in shaping criminal actions. So some of the key aspects or area under this theory includes social learning, reinforcement and punishment cognitive processes. The next theory is the cognitive theory. They suggest that criminal behavior is rooted in faulty or distorted thinking patterns. So it proposes that offenders may have cognitive deficits or develop distorted beliefs that rationalize or justify their criminal activities. So some of the key aspects of cognitive theories include um, cognitive distortions and cognitive deficits. Cognitive deficits and cognitive distortions can significantly influence an individual's personality and actions and their overall behavior, including their tendency towards criminal activities. The other theory considered under criminal psychology is the personality theory or personality theories. Basically, the personality theory of Isaac. This theory assumes that individuals with specific personality profiles, such as those characterized by impulsivity, aggression, or low self-control, are more prone to criminal acts. So the key concepts under this theory includes the trait theory, Isaac's theory, psychopathy, low self-control, and difficult temperaments. These are the key concepts and theories under personality theory. Biological theories of crime also emphasize that individuals' biology, including genetics, brain function, and other biological factors, play a significant role in determining their propensity for criminal behavior. This theory suggests that certain biological predispositions might increase an individual's likelihood of engaging in criminal acts, emphasizing the role of internal factors over solely external environmental factors. The key concepts under this theory includes genetics, neurophysiology, psychophysiology, and hormones. This brings us to the end of looking at the theories that are related to psychology of crime. The next key area we will talk about is the risk factors that affect criminal behavior, or those that influence criminal behavior. These factors are basically categorized under individual, social and relationship, and community. So the individual factors, they look at the history of violence, impulsivity, substance abuse, mental health issues, antisocial or personality disorders, low empathy, cognitive deficits, adverse childhood experiences of an individual. Social or relationship factors relate to poor parenting, family conflict, and association with delinquent peers or peer influences. And the community factors looks at high crime rates, poverty, lack of opportunities. So these are some of the factors that influence behaviors towards criminal activities. So identifying the risk factors and the psychological theories related to crime are important. So understanding these, it is crucial for developing effective prevention and intervention strategies, as well as rehabilitation programs and policy and law enforcement. They also contribute to risk assessments to identify individuals at high risk of engaging in criminal behavior and tailor interventions to address their specific needs and predict the likelihood of future criminal behaviors and guide decisions about supervision and rehabilitation. So they are also important in analyzing criminal behavior patterns and conducting psychological assessments. Thank you. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your patience and thank you for watching.